Thank you very much for having me, and thank you to the ADB for bringing me all the way out here. It's neat to be halfway across the world to talk about my experiences. Also a little bit overwhelming. Just the scale and scope of the disasters we've been talking about is just huge for me. There we go. Okay, so just for context, this is my province of Alberta. It's mostly prairie province, so it's mostly very, very flat and completely landlocked. On the west side of the province, we do have the Rocky Mountains. So that's the divide, that's our headwaters, that's where all of our rivers start. Just in comparison, the landmass of Alberta is about, well, a little over twice the size of the landmass of the Philippines, but total we have 4 million people in all of that area, so very sparsely populated. Our largest city is the city of Calgary at 1.4 million people.
Okay, it's my great honor to come here, and thanks a lot for Nagaraj and ADB's invitation and get me involved in this exciting project. Today I will talk about a project that started only 3 months ago and make some progress, and we try to summarize that right now. Okay, I would like to say a few words about what kind of research that I'm doing. I do this triangle basically lay out what is going on in my lab. We do a lot of field measurements, and those field measurements are primarily, I call it ground level remote sensing measurements. We take measurements at the ground level for the remote sensing.
And the idea of the community practice, of course, is that it's a good mechanism of sharing good practices, of engaging in dialogue between members of the community of practice, South-South dialogue, and it's also a very good mechanism by which development partners and donors can actually hear the voice of developing countries. And for organizations like the Asian Development Bank, this has been equally important so that we make sure that very much our development initiatives are demand-driven and not supply-driven. But during the course of the dialogue within the community practice and the dialogue on results, what was agreed was that it is quite important for the community practice to have a focus for the dialogue. We talk about managing for development results, we talked about public sector management. We need to develop some kind of focus, and out of that came what is called the Managing for Development Results, the framework, which is what I will be introducing today. And as a consequence of ADB establishing the community of practice, the World Bank established one in Africa, the African Community of Practice, and the Inter-American Development Bank established one in Latin America and the Caribbean. And we have joined together not just within the region, but interregionally in producing knowledge products around public sector management.